Hey guys, this is John here in Los Angeles with the Alpha Channel update for Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024. And today's Yggdrasil deck by Hakir Halderson is pretty cool. This is Udir, the Berserker. And so there's a anime or manga slash anime, like a cartoon and a manga series called Berserk. Then there's the Boom comic series, the crowdfunded one with Keanu Reeves, Berserker, which I haven't read. And then there's Warhammer, and I am on book 25, Vulcan Lives, or 26, I don't know which one it is. Vulcan Lives, and the Berserker is featured a lot in Warhammer. There's whole legions that are centered around that style of fighting. Traditionally, the Berserker burns 75% of their resources on any given engagement, while a cautious general can expend as little as 10% and achieve the same outcome, maybe over a longer period of time. But when it comes to saving lives, time becomes an elastic resource. Now, not necessarily, sometimes time is everything, but if you're Caesar and you have to put double siege lines around Alesia, one set of siege lines around the city and another set of siege lines around your camp to defend yourselves from the incoming armies, you can still win that way. So there's something to be said for being cautious. General Sam Houston in the Alamo movie, Dennis Quaid, that was one of the few parts I actually remember him for, where he explains how he wants to catch the Mexican army on a slight hillside when they're not expecting it. So his men have momentum on their side, but not too much that they're out of control. And, you know, there's Prince Edward the Black Prince, during the 100 Years' War between England and France, mastered the art of using his army's weight to suffocate an opposing army, trapping them between a castle wall, a natural fortification like a cliff, and then his army, and suffocating them. He mastered the art of that. So there's while the Berserker can get there fast, he takes such a beating that he can't fight the next battle. Whereas the cautious general arrives there, maybe not quite so quick, but he can fight the battle after that, and the battle after that, and the battle. So to lose 75%, you can engage in 8 times as many fights if you're cautious, only losing 10% per battle. Because remember, 10% is diminishing 10%, so 75, it's not just 8, it would actually be quite a bit more, and I'm not doing that kind of math right now. Today we're looking at Conan 254. It seems I've got all of them now. This is Mike Doherty back on pencils, not Dave Hoover as we had yesterday. Well, last month actually. And this was interesting. I discovered that Barry Smith in the beginning, Conan was an every other month book, and then it was every month, and then it was every other month again for a while. So he had more time. He was cheaper than John Buscema, which is why they hired him. And I was talking yesterday about the nature of speculation. Look at this image. Look at how much work is put into this image right here. Everything is textured by pen, by line work, penciled and inked. Everything in the foreground, everything in the ceiling, the table, all the people. So this is Conan at dinner with Prince Yaila and King Godric and Hob, and he's telling stories about how it is to be Conan. And you can see him, look at him sitting down here at the end of the table on a stool. Everyone else has a chair. Conan is on a stool, and he's still more in charge than the rest of them. He's almost like a shogun, one of those Japanese samurai, the daimyo, how they sat on those little stools in the field. He's at the other end of the table, and he's still the boss. And they're telling stories, and they ask Conan for a story about his time growing up out here. And he tells them this story about when he was 16, that is featured in Savage Sword or Conan number something. I'll save that discovery for a little later. But this is about Null and Null's daughter in the early editions of Conan, which are right here. This is fighting between the Azir and the Vanir and the Frost Giant's daughter, the Beastmen. This is the Frost Giant's daughter. This is adapted from, this absolutely is. So this is Conan number 2, which 9.8 is worth $350. We were talking about this yesterday, about speculation. And so here is Barry Windsor Smith's second Conan book. And how much effort do you invest when they're paying you just enough to eat? You know? Of course you put all of your effort into it every waking moment. And it looks like that's exactly what he did. But how do you not burn yourself out that way? And what does this mean for the speculators? I love the use of colors down here. Look at the green. I remember pointing this out last time I looked at this. This is one of the guys he breaks out of prison. And so I should get back to this story because I'm a little pressed for time today. Here they are fighting the enemy and they get captured. This is all about, so look at the cover. Conan's wearing chains and he's wearing his old helmet too, right? This is all about, there's sorcerer, everything's involved. But this whole thing is a flashback. This whole book is a flashback. Here he is being taken into being captured by this wizard queen up on the horse. This is the story of how Conan defeated her and what she made them do. And Conan fought and she ordered them. So she has the ability to make dead men come back to life. She's basically like a single one-woman zombie factory. And so every time Conan kills someone, whether it's an enemy or whether the enemy kills his friends, now he has to fight his friends again. This is a necromancy. This was a staple in the Conan stories. So this queen is a necromantic queen. I guess they haven't noticed that decapitation works or should work. But, so this guy pulls the sword out that Conan just stabbed into him, pulls it out, and then attacks him with it. And so Conan is surrounded and agrees to be captured. First thing that happens, right? One of the tropes, Conan goes to jail. And one of the things she makes them do in jail for her sport is to, first she sends him to her bedchamber and says he is going to keep her company. So down here at the bottom, she's seducing Conan. Would you like me to seduce you? Mrs. Robinson said. Conan is way cooler than Dustin Hoffman, though. So Conan does, and she unchains him, and he becomes her love interest. So that's the second one. He gets captured and seduces a girl at the same time, right? Goes to jail and gets a girlfriend at the same time. I don't remember if he throws a knife. He's got to throw a sword in this. So first she tells him a story about how under this castle there's a rumor that there's fire and icy rivers, flaming pits and icy rivers, and that's exactly what I am. So she shows him the fire, and then she becomes the queen and shows him the ice and makes him go fight his dead friends. Or actually, these are his friends in the pit, and they're going to fight dead people, and Conan is supposed to watch. That's what's supposed to happen right here. And Conan is not having it. He's going to go fight with his friends. And here you see him, bottom panel. By the bottom panel of these 2 pages, there's a little bit of exposition back and forth. He's jumping down there with a spear, and he's going to help his friends because no one's going to tell him what to do. No one can give you a kingdom. You have to win it for yourself. So here he is. They eventually call a halt to the fight because it's not going anywhere. And the other thing they get distracted by is that these dead guys' friends, these Aesir, this group that Conan's with, his daughter, Ran Nal's daughter, is now attacking the fortress with the other Aesir. And they're going to use these dead men who are going to fight Conan to fight them. And that's Nal, Rand's father. So Nal's daughter means Nal's daughter. And Nal is here as a dead man. And he is now, in a couple minutes, going to have to fight his daughter. And Conan's trying to prevent that. And he strangles this one guard. What else happens? Oh yeah, here she is, coming in. This blonde girl, bottom of the next page. I hope I'm doing this justice in terms of keeping my fingers out of the shadow and not covering up people's faces. So here we got her facing her dad and the other warriors who were her friends, while Conan has gone down to the pits under the castle. They got chased through the main pit. They haven't met up with Rand yet. And they have discovered that the icy river and the flaming, the volcanic pits underneath the castle are indeed true. And there is a bunch of soldiers down there lying in the water. And Conan, covering up his face. Conan, it turns out, has had enough exposure to magic to guess that there may be a solution to his problems here. For one problem, he doesn't have weapons. And for another problem, there's weapons right in front of him. That's not really a problem, but for a solution, there is weapons right in front of him. And those weapons may have special powers. So instead of discovering that he needs to decapitate these dead soldiers, where Rand now confronts her father, who is attacking her as a corpse, as an unreasonable corpse, a frozen zombie Viking corpse. Conan arrives just in time with and does he throw it? He must, right? He slaps what's-her-name. No, he just stabs him. He stabs him from behind, and then he gives the Batman to the Robin slap. This is a meme right here where he slaps this girl. Snap out of it. Blacks are no good for you. They won't help you raise the child. That's a meme waiting to happen right there. So he tells her, your father's dead. And the weapons that he's brought up from the crystal cave down below are capable of killing all the zombies. And Conan and his friends, and Conan gets his helmet back right here. Conan and his friends start attacking the zombies. Here we have it on the cover, only it's golden. I don't know who did the colors for the cover, but, you know. We know the difference. There's also a R on a your missing in one of the word balloons, but I have plenty of typos not to call that out. And I certainly couldn't find it right now. It's just cool that Conan gets his old helmet back. This is still when he's a kid. He's still only 16, so he's probably only been missing the helmet for a couple weeks or a couple days, or something like that. But in the end, he did make an oath that the guy who put the chains on him, that he was going to strangle him, that the chains aren't coming off until he kills him. And he's going to stick by that. So he escapes, but he still has the chains on. And here he is telling the story about how he caught up that guy and how he got out of the chains is another tale. So here we're back at Queen Yala with Hob and King Godric. And Conan was just telling a story. The whole issue is just a story over dinner, which is kind of cool. One of the best James Bond stories is a story over dinner. But I want to point out in Conan number 3, how we start off with this amazing splash page. And Conan is chained with his helmet, these massive manacles. How does he get out of those chains? Maybe we'll take a look at this again. I don't remember looking at it, but apparently we did. I didn't look at it in detail. I think I was just looking at it for the art. I don't think I read it for the words. So, what does all this bring me to talk about for today? What else is going on in the world? I didn't talk about the chapter with this yesterday like I want to. I've been missing out on that, so maybe I should do that. One of the chapters that I skipped before I told you a couple days ago, you guys, about Ashley and Jeffrey at dinner with their parents, is Ashley and Jeffrey go down to the canyon and play with their friends who are having G.I. Joe battles and hoverboard races down in the canyon. Hoverboards, you know, like Marty McFly. These are a cheaper version than the one that I'm going to use for the video game. But so that's a cute little scene. They have their dog, and they take their dog off the leash. And some of the older kids have their hoverboards also not on a leash. Like in surfing, you have a leash so that your surfboard doesn't get away from you. And you're supposed to also use a leash on your hoverboard if you're out playing in the public parks, because otherwise they can shoot out and hit people. And so Ashley gets into a confrontation with this local bully named Evan, who doesn't care that she's a female and treats her just like you would any other boy. And they have a little showdown. So that's here in Legacy of a Mad Scientist, Chapter 5. And then dinner, I think, is 6. I don't know. It's in the first couple hours. We also have The Legend of Ashley Fox, where she goes up against some serial killers who run an orphanage. And we have Ashley Fox Ninja Babysitter comic book, The Last Valkyrie, which won't be number 1. It'll probably be like issue number 6 of Ashley Fox Ninja Babysitter. Look, it even says issue number 6. So someday we'll have 5 issues before this, once this one's colored and some problem panels get addressed. Overall, I'm very happy with it. The art is amazing. There is a bunch of these panels that are colored, and I got some good coloring done today, and they didn't post what I did yesterday, so maybe I'll put that in the end here. Do I want to say anything controversial, anything obnoxious, anything that'll get me canceled, anything racist, anything about the election? You guys don't think Trump's going to fix this for you. No one's coming to save you. Here's the one thing no one is saying about this election. This election is not about a man versus a woman. It's not about Trump being a jerk and Kamala being a drunk, which clearly they both are. This is about a white guy and people who want to get rid of white-run countries in the world, and they're trying to do it. I saw the statistics about one small town that of like 1,500 people that had 2,000 Somalis moved into it. Done by a Jewish company, a Jewish nonprofit charity organization. That's race war. That's genocide. And they need us to fight their war. So this is a really fascinating thing. I guess maybe I am going to flirt with being canceled. I'm not going after blacks. I'm going after the real problem, the Jews. They only had power when you didn't know who they were. They're kind of like, you know, in Wizard of Oz, the guy behind the curtain. They only have power as long as you don't know who's hiring the assassins and who's hiring the people, who's sending the drones. When you know who's sending the drones to blow you up, it's really easy to stop them. And so they really don't have any more power in America. This war isn't going to, by this time next year, I believe it doesn't matter whether Kamala wins or Trump wins. We are in a situation like France under Louis XIV, where France is spending all its money to pay for the American Revolution, not paying attention to the French citizens who are about to guillotine all of the leaders. That's where we are. And I don't know that they'll end up in the guillotine. They don't have to. All we have to do is ignore them. All we have to do is just literally ignore them. And their power evaporates overnight. This is how the Irish fought the English for the last, after we stopped shooting at them. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, because the same thing happens with the blacks. We just ignore them. Don't hire them. Don't involve them in anything. Don't. All right, see you guys tomorrow.